Parshas Truma deals with building of the Mishkan. And in general, the Mishkan refers to the entire structure, and the Kelim are the Klei Mishkan, the Aron, the Shulchan, the Mizbeach. But in a much more specific sense, the Mishkan refers specifically to the Yeriot. The Pasuk says, Vet HaMishkan taseh ese Yeriot. You make 10 Yeriot, 5 and 5, each one 4 amos long, so total of 40 amot. Sheish machzor, tched v'agaman tlat shani, kruvim masech choshev. You make images of the kruvim, and then at the end of the pasuk it says that when you connect the 5 and the 5, then vaya mishkan achad, then the Mishkan becomes whole. So specifically, it relates to the Yeriot of the Mishkan, and on top of the Yeriot of the Mishkan, there were Yeriot Izim, and over there it says the Yeriot Izim are la'ohel al Mishkan. And when you connect the 5 and the 6, because the Yeriot, the Ohel of Mishkan was a little bit bigger, longer, and also wider, so it totally would cover over it. Then when you connect them, it says the Ohel becomes one. Mishkan Achad, and then Vasita Yeriot Izim, and then V'chibart et ha'ohel vaya echad, and then you make krashim la Mishkan. So the krashim, which are the walls, are there just to support the Mishkan. What are the Mishkan? The Mishkan are the Yeriot Mishkan, which is basically what we would call the tent, the ceiling of the tent, and on top you have an Ohel. So the Torah refers to making a Mishkan, making a Ohel al Mishkan, but it's all referring to the ceiling, what was on top. And what was on the sides is simply there to support what was on top. There's a very, very strong connection between this and between how we view a sukkah. A sukkah, basically, you have the fanot, you have walls, but it's there, the main part of the sukkah is the schach. And the walls are there to maybe enclose a certain area and to support the schach. But as Rashi says, sukkah al shem schach hi nikret. So the main part of the sukkah is the schach, and the walls are there to support it, and there's a certain amount of walls that you need, but basically the walls are there to enclose and to support the schach. So first of all, the Mishkan is not, in a much more narrow sense, are the Yeriot HaMishkan, and the Ohel is the Yeriot Izim, which are on top of the Yeriot HaMishkan, and these two terms, Mishkan and Ohel, actually describe what the two important functions of the Mishkan. The pasuk says, "Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham." One of the purposes is that the Shechina should dwell within you, kaviyachol, and Mishkan comes from the word Shechina. And then the other purpose is no'adti chasham v'dibarti etcha me'al haporos. It's also a place of Ohel Moed, a place of No'adti Sham, a place of a point of encounter between God and man, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu can converse with Am Yisrael through Moshe Rabbeinu. It's No'adti, it's a place of Moed, it's a place of Hisavadus, it's a place of a meeting. So on the one hand, it's the Makom Shechina, so the Shechina should dwell within you. On the other hand, it's also a point of encounter, and that's the Ohel Moed. So we have Mishkan Ha'idut, because that's where the Luchot Ha'idut are, and that's the Shechina is Shoreh. On the other hand, you also have the idea of Ohel Moed, which is Hisvadus. So you have these two different Yeriot. You have the Yeriot HaMishkan, and then on that you have Ohel HaMishkan. Mishkan is certainly a reference to V'shachanti b'tocham, while the Ohel is the Ohel Moed, which is the V'no'adti Chasham. You have these two different terms, not only at the beginning of the Parsha of Mishkan, but also at the end. At the end it says, Olat tamid dorotechem, petach Ohel Moed lifnei Hashem. First of all, it refers to Ohel Moed. Asher ivaed lachem shama, there I will meet you, I will encounter you. L'daber elech Hashem, v'no'adti sham lifnei Yisrael v'nikdash b'chvodi. And then the pasuk says, "V'shachanti b'toch bnei Yisrael," I will dwell within the people of Israel. V'ayiti lahem lelokim, v'yadu ki ani Hashem Elokechem asher hotzeti atchem be'eretz Mitzrayim l'shachni b'tocham ani Hashem Elokechem. So you have the psukim which introduce the building of the Mishkan, have this dual theme of, on the one hand, V'shachanti, and then v'no'adti l'chasham, and then the psukim which conclude the parsha of the Mishkan also deal with these two different things in the inverse order. First of all, v'no'adti l'chasham, and then also v'shachanti b'tocham. Now, not only are the Yeriot, the main Mishkan, and whether it be the oil or the Mishkan, that's the main part of the Mishkan, but the separation between the Kodesh and the Kodesh Kadashim occurs at that point in which they are connected. We said there are 5 and 5, each one is 4 amos long, so 10 times 4 is 40 amos. The Mishkan, the Krashim, were 30 amos long, so the Yerios went 30 amos and then hung down another 10 amos. So the connection between the 5 and the 5 through the hooks was 20 amos in. Now, that was exactly where the Kodesh Kadashim was situated. The pasuk says, "V'natata et haparochet," which separates between the Kodesh and the Kodesh Kadashim, tachat hakrasim, under the hooks. V'veita shama mebeit laparochet daron ha'idut, v'evdila haparochet lachem bein hakodesh v'bein Kodesh HaKodashim. So you have the Yeriot of the Mishkan, which are connected after 20 amos, when there are 10 amos left, and that's exactly where the separation occurs between the Kodesh HaKodashim, where the Aron is, and between the Kodesh. So the entire Mishkan really is described by the Yerios, whether the Yerios HaMishkan or whether the Yerios HaOel, and these are two different functions. Now, at the end, when they finally built the Mishkan, so the pasuk says, "Vayichas ha'anan et oel moed, uchvod Hashem malei et hamishkan." So the anan, the cloud, is over the ohel moed, and kvod Hashem, which is the Shechina, is malei et hamishkan. So again, this separates between these two different ideas. The idea of ohel moed which is a point at which you actually are able to meet HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ki be'anan eira'el al kaporet. The way in which God speaks to you is through the anan, which kind of serves as a buffer. On the other hand, uchvar Hashem alei hamishkan, the Shechina, that's the Mishkan. So the anan is described as connected to the Ol Moed, and Kvar Hashem alei hamishkan. V'lo yachol Moshe lavo el Ol Moed ki shachan alav he'anan. So he couldn't go to the Ol Moed because of the Anan. Uchvod Hashem malei et hamishkan. And again, the Kvod Hashem itself, Kaviyachol, that is totally, that is within the Mishkan. And these psukim actually parallel what goes on in Har Sinai. Vayal Moshe Har Sinai vayichas he'anan et hahar. So you have the Anan, which is like the Ol Moed. The Anan is covering the mountain. Vayishkon kvod Hashem al Har Sinai. Uchvod Hashem alei et hamishkan. Kvod Hashem, the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is on Har Sinai. Vayichaseu he'anan. And just like you have the Yeriot HaOel covering the Mishkan, so too you have the Anan covering the Kvod Hashem, which is on the Har Sinai. Umar'eh Kvar Hashem ke'esh ochelet b'rosh hahar le'inei bnei Yisrael vayavo Moshe b'toch ha'anan vayavo lahar. So the Kvod Hashem is like a fire, while the either smoke or cloud or whatever whatever symbolism you want to use, which are very very similar. Ki be'anan eral kaparos is the smoke of the Ketores. That's the Ol Moed, and because of the smoke, which serves as some kind of a smoke screen, are you able to actually go into the Mishkan and have converse with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you have these two different ideas of Mishkan. As a matter of fact, after Luchos are broken, and during those days which Moshe was going to spalel for the people, so then they didn't have the Luchos. So it wasn't a Mishkan Ha'edus, or where they have the Luchos Ha'edus, but rather it was just an Ol Moed. So during that interim, the pasuk says, "U'Moshe yikach et ha'oel." He called his tent the Ol Moed. Mishkan is not mentioned at all. Anybody that wanted an encounter with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yatsa el Ol Moed Hashem michutz ha'machaneh. Vayaketzet Moshe el ha'oel yakumu kol ha'am v'nitzvu ish petach ohalo v'yibit achrei Moshe ad bo ha'ola. Okay, so what you have is an Ol Moed, but you don't have a Mishkan. Vayakivo Moshe Ha'ola Yered Amud Ha'anan. So then you have the Amud Anan, you have the cloud, but you don't have the Eish. You don't have the Kvod Hashem. All you have is the Ol Moed, a place to encounter HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but the Mishkan, Kvod Hashem, that you don't have because there are no luchos between the Shrias HaLuchos after the Egel and between receiving the second luchos. Okay, this is all regarding the Mishkan. So regarding the Mishkan, the main part is the Yerios that cover the Mishkan, and under that you're Yoshe B'Seitra Yom B'Tzel Shalayit Oman. You're within the shadow of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the main thing is the Riyot. Because when you're talking about the Mishkan, there's no Kedushas HaMakom. There's no meaning to the space itself. The Mishkan would travel from place to place to place. Where the Mishkan was today, once it goes to the next place, this space was no longer Kadosh. There's no Kedushas Makom. The Kedusha is on the y-axis, so it's under the Ohel. No matter where the Ohel is, that's Kadosh. When the Ohel goes from place to place, so the Kedusha transfers to another place. When they go into Eretz Yisrael, so they have the Mishkan in Gilgal for 14 years and for Yusha Yeshiva, and then they go to Shiloh, and there they build walls, but they put the Riyot over the walls. Because on the one hand, you don't have to travel from place to place, but on the other hand, still the Kedusha is Kedushas Yerios. It's not a Kedushas Makom. When Shiloh was destroyed, there's no Kedusha in that place. The Pasuk says in the Shira, Tivi'enu came Bahar Nachalatcha, bring us to the mountain of your Nachala. This pasuk refers to going to Israel to Har Moriah and building the Beis Hamikdash. Then it becomes a Nachala. And the pasuk says in Re'eh, Lo tasun kechol she'anachnu osim po hayom ish kol yashar be'einav. Nowadays, we don't have a Beis Hamikdash. You can bring a carbon wherever you want. You don't have to go to the Mishkan. We haven't yet reached the Menucha v'Nachala, which is the Beis Hamikdash. When you cross the Jordan River, מנחיל אתכם והניח לכם מכל אויביכם מסביב וישבתם בטח והיה המקום אשר יבחר השם אלוקיכם לשכן שמו שמה תביאו את כל אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם. When you go into Israel and you go, then there will be a kedushas makom of the place, and that's why you go from Mishkan to Ohel Moed, and then you eventually become a Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash means there's importance to the walls. The walls are mechitzos. It creates kedushas hamakom, and the pasuk says, and the Rambam writes that once they came into Yerushalayim, that Yerushalayim remains kadosh even if the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed. Because the makom itself was kedushas, has kedushas mechitzos. So then it's not only the ceiling that's important, but it's also the mechitzos that are important because it encloses a certain space, a certain area, which becomes kadosh. Pasuk in Tehillim says, Ki bachar Hashem b'Tzion, Ival moshavlo, Zot menuchati adei ad, Po eshev ki ivitiu. This is where I chose Tzion. Tzion is the end of the process, starting with the Mishkan Ohel Moed and eventually reaching Yerushalayim, and there Zot menuchati adei ad.